know that you think you're the coolest one in town, but to me you'll be much cooler when you're 6 feet underground. Some of us are crazy, some are smart and brave. Well, it doesn't really matter, we all end up in the grave. All my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead. I'm saying all my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead. All my favorite people are dead.
Well, hello, breathers,
And welcome back.
to another fabulous episode of
All my favorite people.
Are Dead.
They're dead.
They're totally
They're dead. They're like dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like the opposite of alive dead.
They are corpses.
They are, not coming back.
No.
What are you going to do? You know what? The time you get from cradle to grave is very small.
Indeed.
So you gotta enjoy it while you can, and it's later than you think.
That's right.
So there you go. If you ain't doing it, now, don't wait. Don't save it. Don't wait for a rainy day. Don't wait for retirement.
That's right.
Frickin' do it now.
Do it now.
Do it now.
And the person we're going to be talking about today very much lived with that mindset
Okay.
of,
Do it now.
I could die, so I got to do what I got to do.
That's right. We all can.
Yeah.
But she was serious about it.
This one was particularly serious about it.
How serious was she? Pretty darn
Pretty
serious.
darn serious, yeah.
Okay. Tell us, Shannon. Tell us the story, Aunt Shannon.
So, this just happens to be legitimately one of my most favorite dead people.
Okay.
I've got a picture of her on my
Yes,
right here.
I know, and on your laptop, and
She's on my laptop.
yes.
I have a beautiful picture of her on the inside of my closet door.
Why do you love this person so much?
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
She is an inspiration. She is not just her words, her paintings, but her words as well. Her paintings told her life story, the good and the bad. There was a lot of bad, but there was lots of good too. She loved life. And there's a lot of joy, a lot of pain, a lot of politics, a lot of love in her work. The person I'm talking about today is the one, the only Frida Kahlo.
She was fabulous.
Love,
Yeah.
love.
How could you not?
No, I know, yeah.
I don't know. Look, I'm not an art critic, but I know when something's good.
Yeah. And everybody knew that she was good.
Yeah.
And still today, there's like Frida Mania.
Yeah.
People love Frida
Yeah,
Kahlo.
I see pictures of her when I drive by. I think even on the Metro North, there's like
yeah.
a whole mural on the side of one of the buildings. You can't even say it's up.
Yeah.
You just from looking at her, aside from her work, you go, that's Frida Kahlo. If I was ever going to do like a Halloween party, and I would adjust it, you would know immediately who I am. Yeah.
That bright colored dresses, the hair, the unibrow, everything about
I wasn't going to go there with that, but being that you mentioned it,
awesome.
but that's my only critique. Again, I'm not an art critic or anything else, but why didn't the woman own a frickin' tweezer? Come now. Okay? Somebody get Frida a tweezer for Christmas. Come on now, there's no excuse for that. She didn't want to go for threading, she didn't want to do laser, okay. No, but they had tweezers. Okay, I just never understood why she let that go.
Maybe because she was already in enough pain as it was.
Okay, well, having that caterpillar on your face can't be good.
It didn't stop her from getting lovers.
No,
Let me tell you.
yeah, because they didn't give a crap that a caterpillar died on her face. But I'm just saying, as a woman, look, I don't spend hours in front of the mirror, but tweeze your damn eyebrows, woman. That's all I'm saying. Put down the paintbrush, 15 minutes, okay? That's all it's going to take. All right? You don't have to go for electrolysis or any, it's a tweezer. Dollar store, okay? Not expensive, not time consuming. Okay, that's all. I'm done, okay?
Are you sure?
Yes. Okay, I am done with that now. Let's not talk about her face.
I think she was quite pretty, but
She was, but it's so distracting. She had a really nice face. With the flowers in the hair and the dark hair up and the ear and all, and then the red lips, and then you get distracted with the freaking caterpillar between her eyeballs. So come on now.
Some photos it was more pronounced than others. So
Yeah.
I think she probably did tweeze it from time to time.
Not enough. That shit grows back. Okay, I'm sorry. I get like that, you better freaking get me a tweezer for my birthday, okay? Sue, here's a tweezer. Okay, Shannon, Sue, come in the bathroom. Okay, because that's the type of thing that friends do.
Okay.
I would never let you walk around like that. Come on now.
Okay, fair enough.
God.
Anyway, so she was born, Miss Caterpillar, was born July 6, 1907, in Coyoacan, Mexico.
Uh-huh.
It's a suburb of Mexico City.
Where they don't sell tweezers, apparently.
Girl.
Okay, all right, I'm done. Okay.
Her full name originally was Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Cadola. So it's
Spanish for caterpillar.
No, would you? Oh my God.
All right, I'm done. I'm really done this time. Okay, fine. Okay.
Frida. She was born in the same house where she would die.
Oh.
Yes, her family's home, La Casa Azul, which basically means the
Blue house.
Yes.
Was it blue?
It was.
Okay,
Beautiful
yeah, blue house. Okay.
Her parents were Guillermo Kahlo, who was a German Jew who had immigrated to Mexico.
I didn't know that. He was a German Jew?
Yes, he was.
In Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. And her mother was Matilda Calderon, who was an indigenous and Spanish descent. Now, Frida used to say that she was, quote, a mixture. She grew up in a time of revolution, as Mexico struggled to find its identity.
Yeah.
She recalled her mother aiding some of the wounded revolutionaries who were fighting not far from their home. Their family struggled financially, as her father had been a photographer, but had very little work coming in while the government was in turmoil and switching hands. Mm-hmm. So they had to mortgage their home and take in boarders occasionally. Besides Frida, she also had 3 sisters,
oh, wow.
Matilda, Adriana, and Christina. As a child, she was quite playful and very feisty. Her mother was pretty stern and a strict Catholic woman. But while that worked on her sisters, like her sisters were happy to be obedient, it didn't work on Frida.
No, she wasn't having
She's like, I'll do what the fuck I want.
That's right.
She did exactly what she wanted pretty much her whole
Good
life.
for her.
She was actually much closer to her artist father, no surprise there, than her mother.
Yeah. Okay.
At the age of 6, she contracted polio, which caused a great deal of damage to her right leg.
Yeah.
And it made her right leg much skinnier and weaker than her left. She was very conscious of this, and kids at school sometimes called her Peg Leg Frida, because children are dicks.
Kids can be cruel.
They really the worst.
You know, they really can be cruel.
I was bullied throughout all of school, so yeah, I know.
You want to know 3 things that always tell the truth? Small children.
Small children, yeah.
Drunk people. And yoga pants. But anyway,
story.
Small children will tell you to the point of hurtfulness.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Well, Frida would be blunt pretty much her whole life. Mm-hmm. She really would, yeah. When she was 14, her father, who had higher hopes for her than her more obedient sisters, he decided that since she had an independent mind and her feistiness, he wanted to send her to the prestigious National Preparatory School in Mexico City.
Sure.
It was essentially a really fancy high school, but they had like university standards.
Okay.
It was a pretty big deal. Now, it was an hour-long bus ride from her home to the school. Okay. But that didn't bother Frida. She loved it.
Oh.
It was during this time that her style was beginning to change, along with Mexico itself. Mm-hmm. Mexico was beginning to celebrate its color, its culture, its heritage, and this all inspired Frida, very much so. But she wasn't painting yet. Not yet, anyway. She was studying music, philosophy, languages. She spoke and read Spanish, German, and English fluently. She was hoping to study to become a doctor. That was her goal, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a big cry from, medicine.
It is. She was hanging out with a band of fellow like-minded students who liked pranking teachers and causing trouble. They called themselves the Cachuchas. One of these boys she quickly fell in love with.
I think I taught them one year.
Yeah. Alejandro Jarrez was her first love and her first boyfriend. He would later claim that Frida was incredibly sexual at a young age, and even had some sort of love affair with a female librarian at the school.
Oh, okay.
Which made him very jealous.
I imagine.
She would continue throughout her life to have both male and female lovers, so she's bisexual.
Okay.
Now, while at school, in 1922, she first saw the great Mexican mural artist Diego Rivera. Mm-hmm. He was working on a painting for the school in the school's auditorium. Now, she actually played pranks on him. She loved messing around with him. She was messing with his girlfriends and his models, stealing food from his lunchbox, and all while calling him panzon, fatso. She also developed a very serious crush on him, though, which is wild because the guy was hideous.
She saw something,
Yeah, well,
deeper.
that was the thing about him. Like, women loved this guy.
Yeah, he had this.
He had these weird, buggy eyes. He was 300 pounds and over 6 feet tall. But women, just drooled for him.
He must have had a great personality.
Apparently, he was very tender and very kind and
Charming.
just very,
Yeah.
I mean, he could pour on the charm.
Yeah.
Frida, as a young girl, was saying, "My goal is to marry Diego Rivera and have his children."
Oh, okay.
And her female
Gotta
friends
have
were
goals.
They were like, "What the fuck's
Ew.
wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's disgusting." However, this would all come to a sudden halt in 1925, when Frida and her boyfriend Alejandro were on a bus heading home to Coyoacan. I gotta say that right, Coyoacan, when they were hit by a trolley car, which Alejandro claimed managed to cause the bus to burst into a million pieces. Frida's survival was a just flat-out miracle. Her spine was broken in 3 places. She had a broken collarbone, 2 broken ribs, her right leg was shattered, broken in 11 places.
Jeez.
Her right foot had been crushed, and her left shoulder was dislocated, and her pelvis was broken in 3 places.
Other than that.
Her abdomen and uterus had been punctured by a handrail.
Oh.
Yeah. Her clothes had been blown off in the accident, and someone on the bus had been carrying a bag of gold dust, which had flown everywhere, and she was covered in it. Her naked, bloody body was covered in gold dust. Witnesses said that they should have been shocked at the sight of it, but she looked like a sleeping golden ballerina.
Who the hell carries gold dust with them in their bag on the car?
I think it was a painter, actually.
Okay.
Had gold dust for the...
Okay.
Yeah.
No glitter. Good thing it wasn't glitter. I don't.
Same thing, really. I mean, she was
Ew.
covered in gold dust. Actual gold. It was wild, yeah. Actually, if you ever seen the movie Frida with Selma Hayek,
Yeah.
they recreate that scene. It's actually pretty accurate, the way she looks. Anyway, she was in the hospital for almost an entire month, entirely wrapped up and confined to a small box so that she wouldn't be able to move. She was sent home and spent the next 3 months in bed. She made a recovery and was able to walk, which is amazing, but she would never go a day without pain for the rest of her life. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It was during those months in bed that her father, Guillermo, brought her a paint set so that she would have something to do. She also had a mirror installed on the roof of her wooden academy bed, and she began painting what she saw herself.
There you go.
Now, her first real painting...
Was that the origin of mirrors on the ceiling in the bed, maybe?
No.
No, different story. All right. Just asking for a friend. Okay.
Her first real painting was a seductive painting of herself for her boyfriend Alejandro, who had begun to distance himself from her. He actually had done this before the accident because he was a little upset that she was having all these relationships on the side. She was pretty...
Slutty?
A little bit. Even as a young girl. Like that female librarian that I mentioned she was having an affair with. Anyway, Frida wanted him to have the painting of her, and this sort of healed the relationship a little bit, but ultimately they went their separate ways. Frida recovered and she got back out into the blossoming world of Mexico City, which by the 1920s was full of life. I mean, it was the place to be. There was riveting political ideas going on, swinging parties.
Drugs.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
It
you
all
know.
sounded good to Frida.
There you go.
Hey,
All right.
I'm like,
All right, let's go. Let's go.
I'm ready. Now, while hanging out in Mexico City, she ended up joining the Mexican Communist Party with some of her friends from school. At a party, she once again ran into the famous artist Diego Rivera.
I remember him.
Yeah. Now, at this point, he's like 40 years old, and she's 20, 21, 22.
Okay.
She was formally introduced to him at this party, and not long after, she said, "I want you to take a look at my paintings. I want you to tell me if you think they're any good, if I should keep doing this. I want an honest opinion." So Diego took a look at some of her paintings and was amazed.
Yeah.
He said, quote, "This girl was an authentic artist."
Good.
He then ventured to her family home, where he looked at all of her work, and he said, "You must keep painting. You have to keep painting."
Okay, so he's encouraging
He's
her.
encouraging her,
He's an
absolutely.
inspiration. That's
Yeah.
all good.
So he wrote later that he was absolutely taken by her. The
Sure.
two made an odd pair.
I can imagine.
He's 41, she's 21. He's 6 feet tall and weighs 300 pounds. She's 5'3" and weighs less than 100 pounds.
Okay.
But Frida wanted nothing more than to please Diego, the man she saw as a god.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hero worship. I don't know
A
how
little
healthy
bit.
that is, but
Yeah.
okay.
Now Diego asked Guillermo if he could marry his daughter, to which Guillermo simply told him, she is a sick woman. She will always be sick. She is intelligent, but not pretty. Think it over.
Oh, gee. Wow.
Nice, Dad.
So it's like buyer beware.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what he says about his own daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, a simple no would
Yeah.
have, you know you can't.
You don't want to get into this.
Oh, that's cool.
Diego was rich. He had plenty of money. He actually was able to pay off the Kahlo's mortgage on their home, La Casa Azul. And he had no problem paying for Frida's medical bills, which were pretty constant because she was always in the hospital.
Wow.
Pain.
Okay.
So he's like, yeah, I want to get married. Let's do it.
Aw.
Now,
Well, that's kind of sweet in a weird
It
way.
is.
Yeah.
but as much as she loved him, she knew this guy had a wandering eye. He had
But so
already-
did she, didn't she,
She-
too?
she
They
did.
both did. So they meet on that level
But he had
where they
been
get
married
each other.
twice before. He
Okay.
had kids from previous marriages. And countless lovers, and anytime he had a sexy model that he was using, he'd fuck her.
And she knew this.
She knew this going in.
So she knew it going in, and she doesn't sound like, she's sitting home twiddling her thumbs
Right,
either.
right.
So,
But when she met Diego, she was determined, this is my husband, and I will be the best wife ever.
she was determined to give up fooling around.
Yes.
And he
Okay.
wasn't.
Right.
But he's not going to do that.
Within less than a year, he has his first affair.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he had it on the honeymoon. You can't change the spots of a leopard. She
Right.
she knew it going in.
She did. She absolutely knew.
Doesn't make it right, but
Right. No. Now,
maybe she thought he would change. You know how many times I hear that?
Yeah.
He's going to change. The right woman will change him.
Not really.
He'll stop this, that, and the other. The real woman will change. Yeah, it'd have to be a real big woman, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody's changed. The only time, okay, ladies, the only time you can change a man is when he's in diapers. That's it. He doesn't want to change. You are not going to change him. You heard it here.
that's sound advice.
Okay, yeah.
So like I said, within less than a year of their marriage, he has his first affair, and then she was forced to have an abortion due to medical issues from her first pregnancy. Because her body was just, it couldn't handle it.
Oh, was she sick?
Yeah.
Aw.
In 1930, Diego was invited to come to the United States to do some Euros here. In November, they set sail for San Francisco. Frida liked the city. Thought it was beautiful. She liked
Sure.
the Bay Area, but she didn't like gringos. Which
Oh.
was Americans, as she called
Yeah,
us.
white people.
Yeah. She wrote to a friend, quote, "They are very boring, and they have faces like unbaked rolls." Ouch!
Not all of us.
Come on.
Well, you do, Shannon.
I
But those of us who look Mexican.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I know. I'm pale. I get it. As Diego worked constantly on his commission, Frida did small paintings in Rome. Before long, they ventured to New York City, where Diego was to be honored with a one-man show at the Museum of Modern Art.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Frida liked New York. She liked going to the movies.
Even the white people?
No.
No, not the white people.
No, not the white people. She enjoyed shocking people with her behavior, and her brightly colored Mexican clothing, and her
Right.
jewelry.
I'm sure.
She had a tendency to say whatever was on her mind.
I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
When they went to Detroit, and she was at a party with Henry Ford.
Oh.
Frida knew perfectly well that he was anti-Semitic, so she asked out loud at the party. She said, "Quote, Mr. Ford, is it true you're Jewish?"
What do you say?
Oh, he was pissed.
Oh, that's so
She
funny.
just wanted to embarrass him. She was just like, "Let's fuck with him."
Now that sounds like something I would do. You know that. You know that, yeah.
In 1932, they were trying to get fancy rooms at a hotel in Detroit that was famous for not allowing Jews.
Ah.
Which was a problem because both Frida and Diego had fathers who had Jewish.
Oh, him
backgrounds.
too. So
Yeah.
so technically they're,
Yeah. So they got Jewish, even though they're both atheists and communists and have no.
But they have a Jewish
They've
parent.
got Jewish backgrounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we can't stay here because technically we're Jewish, and And then the hotel was like, oh no, because they were celebrities, like big payers. They're like, no, you can stay.
We'll make an exception for you guys.
They're like, okay.
Yeah.
Now, while in Detroit, she became pregnant again.
Oh.
Which she's like, I don't know, I don't think I can keep it. And the doctor's like, well, we can actually do a C-section. So she's like,
Okay.
okay, all right. So she's like, all right, let's try to keep it. However, On July 4th, 1932, in the middle of the night, she began bleeding heavily,
Yeah.
ultimately losing the baby and almost her life.
Aww.
She spent 13 days at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, which inspired one of her most painful paintings, which is simply called Henry Ford Hospital. In it, she's lying naked on a blood-soaked bed with a baby floating from a ribbon above her. And there's a snail floating above her as well, which she said symbolized the slow process of a miscarriage. Yeah, it's very,
so sad.
very painful,
Poor-
very, very sad painting.
Yeah, poor woman.
Yeah. In September, Frida had to leave Diego and head back to Mexico because her mother was dying.
Oh.
And even though she didn't really like her mother, who was very starch Catholic, very dominant woman, she still wanted to be there. And then when she returned back to Detroit, she barely recognized Diego. He had lost 100 pounds.
How?
From working on these murals, working himself to death, just constantly work.
Okay.
So his doctor was actually saying, you need to eat more.
Wow.
Because he had lost so much weight and was getting kind of sick. So next thing you know, she's trying to take care of him. And then Nelson Rockefeller hired him to do a mural at Rockefeller Center in New York City. So they go back to New York. Now, unfortunately, Diego, who's a well-known communist, starts painting sort of controversial characters into this mural, which pisses off a lot of New Yorkers.
You think?
As a result, Rockefeller fired Diego.
Yeah.
At this point, Frida's like, look, I don't like Gringolandia, as she called it.
Gringolandia.
Gringolandia. She's like, I want to go back home to Mexico, and then they had been in the U.S. for pretty much 4 years. So she's like, I miss home, I want to go back.
Sure.
Yeah. They're also running out of money. But Diego loved America. He figured, this is great, I love this place. This is the place where everything's going to build and change, and this is where the revolution's going to be. That's what he thought anyway.
Okay.
So they fought bitterly about it. Eventually, she was able to get some friends to buy them tickets to sail home. And he was not thrilled. Within the next few months, Diego began having affairs again, including one with her own sister, Christina.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Wow.
This she could not forgive.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, what was Christina thinking?
I have no idea. I don't know what his charm. He held a charm over women. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Her own sister.
Her own sister. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Just when you think your family's dysfunctional, look at that.
Yeah.
Your brother-in-law. Alrighty then.
Yeah. So Frida, this broke her heart. She cut off all of her hair.
Oh.
She left.
But not the eyebrow. She left the eyebrow and cut off her hair.
She moved out of their home and got a small apartment, moved in with her pet monkey, and began painting.
Wait, did you say pet monkey?
Pet monkey, yeah.
Okay. Doesn't everybody have a little capuchin thing or a gorilla?
No, a little guy.
The little organ grinder diaper thing, not like King Kong.
I guess you could buy them pretty easily in Mexico.
Okay, never entertained the notion, but okay. Take the monkey.
So she began painting some pretty brutal paintings in this time period, like a lot of really nasty
anger
stuff. Yeah, anger. Yeah,
she's full of pain and anger. Who wouldn't be?
Yeah. She also started to have her own lovers at this point. She's like, all right, I'm going to go back and do whatever I want.
Did Diego have a brother? That would have, can you imagine that, right?
Right,
that would have, even the score.
But she's having affairs with both men and women at this time.
Okay.
A serious affair that she had was with a Hungarian photographer, a very talented guy named Nicholas Morai, who photographed her for Vanity Fair. But all of these lovers they all knew that she still loved Diego. She still did. She loved the guy. About a year went by before Frida decided to move back in with Diego into the 2 houses and studios that he built for them just outside Mexico City. One big pink one for Diego and one little blue one for Frida with a bridge that connected the two.
Little Casa Azul.
Yeah. So in 1936, Frida was in the midst of her political activities as the world was on the brink of war. She sent aid to Republicans in the Spanish Civil War, right? She and Diego invited Leon Trotsky, and his wife, who were forced out of Russia by Stalin, to come and live with them in Mexico.
Okay.
So, there was assassination attempts on Trotsky.
Yeah.
It was a very scary time for him. His whole family had been killed off, except him and his wife were able to escape.
It must be scary for her harboring him.
Yeah. So they actually kind of hire all these guards and take him to La Casa Azul, her family's home, and put him up there. And he's there for like 2 years. He stays there. However, he and Frida fall in love.
Oh, gee.
She has an affair with him.
Naturally.
And she eventually...
Of course. How could she not?
Well, she eventually got bored of him and referred to him as the old man after a while. And then he and his wife left in 1939. Now, also around this time, friends of Frida had convinced her to send some of her personal paintings to a big group show of Mexican artists in Mexico City. There, she won high praise for her work. People really began to like her paintings and their personal scenes and originality. She didn't think anyone was going to like her work because it was so personal to her. She's like, people aren't going to get this. I don't know what this means. But they loved them. So anyway, Frida, a French surrealist artist named Andre Breton comes to Mexico. He sees Frida's work, and he's like, she's a surrealist. She's an amazing original surrealist. And she's like, no, I'm not.
I'm just a painter from Mexico.
She said, quote, I'm not a surrealist. I never painted dreams. I painted my own reality. The only thing I know is that I paint because I need to paint. I paint always whatever passes through my head. So,
Okay.
regardless, Andre's like, no, you need to come to Paris. You need to show off your work there. So there's new interest in her work. Eventually, she gets a solo show in New York City. So she leaves Diego. She goes up to New York City in the fall of 1938.
Gringoland?
Back to Gringoland, right? And she has a very successful show in New York City. By January 1939, she's invited to Paris for another solo show. She hated Paris. Hated it. She said the people here are lazier than me. But her work was well received. And the Louvre purchased one of her paintings for the collection. She's the first modern Mexican artist
To be featured in the Louvre, yeah.
Even Diego didn't have that honor. Frida just absolutely couldn't stand France.
Too many gringos.
Well, her show did quite well, but nobody was buying paintings because there was a war coming on. It's 1939, and it's a bad time to buy paintings.
France was having a little trouble around that time.
A little scary.
Yeah.
So she returned to Mexico in April of 1939, and at the age of 32, she was now a star in the art world, right? But it seemed that Diego was getting a little bit jealous.
Of her success?
I think so. And he was carrying on an affair with his assistant.
Oh, got bored of the sister?
He got bored of the sister, started having an affair with his assistant, and then finally asked Frida for divorce. So again, she went into a dark depression. She cut off her hair, she starts wearing dark clothing, she starts drinking heavily. Apparently a bottle of brandy a day.
Especially when she's already got pre-existing conditions and she's not in the best of health.
It's not good.
Oh.
At this point, she also begins painting her largest work, The Two Fridas, which she said showed the Frida Diego loved and the Frida Diego didn't love.
Wow.
In a letter she wrote to him at one point, I'll read you a part. She says, "Let's not fool ourselves, Diego. I gave you everything that is humanly possible to offer, and we both know that. But still, how the hell do you manage to seduce so many women when you're such an ugly son of a bitch?"
Go Frida.
This is another letter that she wrote. And this is probably one of my favorite quotes of hers. "I don't give a shit what the world thinks. I was born a bitch. I was born a painter. I was born fucked. But I was happy in my way. You did not understand what I am. I am love. I am pleasure. I am essence. I am an idiot. I am an alcoholic. I am tenacious. I am simply, I am. You are a shit."
I think I read that on a Hallmark card once.
I love her.
Wow. Wow, you go.
That's probably one of my favorite lines.
You are a shit.
You are a shit.
Good for her.
Yeah.
She's right.
Yeah. I love her. Frida's health, sadly, rapidly declined at this point.
I'm sure the alcohol wasn't helping.
It was not helping. To top it off, in August of 1940, her old friend Trotsky was assassinated.
Oh, yeah.
And she and her sister were arrested.
Not the Christina sister.
Yeah.
Well, what, she's still talking to her? They just patched it up. I guess they both decided the guy's a moron.
Oh, the guy's a moron.
So now they have a comment.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know. Can you forgive your sister for that? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Alrighty then.
So they were both arrested and brought in for questioning. After being released, Frida went to San Francisco where Diego was working. He had said that he decided that the divorce was a bad idea.
Oh.
And asked her to marry him again.
Which sounds like a bad idea to me.
She wouldn't give him response right away.
Okay.
She wanted to fuck with him. Instead, she had a brief affair with a German Jewish refugee named Heinz Bergerman, who was working for Diego. So he was actually one of Diego's assistants. And she's like, hey, you, let's fuck. Well, I'm thinking about remarrying Diego.
Okay, that's normal. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So,
and his name is Heinz Burger?
Heinz Bergerin.
A lot like cheeseburger. Heinz Burger, ketchup burger. Alrighty, I don't know. That just popped into my mind. So, well, that's a little revengey. I mean, revenge is a dish best served cold.
Yeah, or saucy in this case.
Yeah, Heinzy. Ketchupy. Anticipation. Remember that commercial? That was a Heinz ketchup commercial.
Oh, I know. I don't remember that.
Yeah, because you're young.
Thanks. Yeah.
It showed a bottle of ketchup, Heinz ketchup, and they took and like, you know, when he's pulling out, he's hitting the bottom of the that's me hitting the bottom of, and it's very slow getting on the burger, and the guy's like salivating.
Yeah.
Anticipation.
I think I do recall that. Right.
Yeah, you can't because you're young. You're a youngin'.
Anyway, they were remarried in a brief civil ceremony in San Francisco on Diego's 51st birthday.
Bad idea. Why? I know, she loved him. Yeah, she loved him. She loved, yeah.
And they were good for each other.
Really?
And bad for each other, yeah.
They might have been good if they stayed as colleagues in art.
Right.
To have a relationship, they not good.
So anyway, they soon traveled back to Mexico.
Okay.
Where they turned the Blue House into a home of their own.
Okay.
Frida took great pains to make a special room just for Diego, while she had a second floor studio and bedroom added for herself.
Mm-hmm.
You'll like this too. She had a huge collection of dolls.
Oh.
Yeah. Anytime someone asked, "What can I bring you?" when they're visiting, she's like, "I want you to bring me a doll."
Aw, that's nice.
She had a huge, nice doll collection.
Yeah.
Another interesting part of her collection, which she said was one of her dolls, she kept a human fetus in a glass jar of formaldehyde. Something to remind her of her.
Was it hers?
No, I don't think it was hers.
It was another
one, but
a reminder
it was a
of
reminder for miscarried child.
Okay, I don't know if I would, God forbid you keep something like that in the house, but
well, she also liked to do it to shock the hell out of people. She loved those.
That'll work.
People's
That'll work. Look, Junior, that'll work. That'll work. I guess like a sonogram photo in a frame wouldn't have sufficed.
No.
Okay, then.
By the 1940s, she was teaching art to students. The world loved Frida's art, but her own country was still slow to appreciate her. However, teaching art to young students was an immense joy to her and seemed to help her forget about her pain, which was gradually getting worse. She couldn't sit for much longer than 25 minutes. She had to wear these painful metal corsets and plaster corsets. She spent most of the last decade of her life in bed and was developing an addiction to morphine at this point.
Oh.
Yeah. In 1950, Frida entered the English hospital in Mexico City, where she would stay for the next year. She insisted, however, that her room be filled with people, flowers, and tequila. By 1951, she was back home, but barely able to walk. She decided that she had to paint as much as she could. But her later work, since now she's drinking and taking a lot of medication, her later work doesn't look anything like her early work.
Couldn't be. The strokes are different. Yeah.
Not the same.
Yeah, sure. Van Gogh had the same thing.
Yes,
I went to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, and you could see the difference between his regular period and then his period where his mental illness had taken over.
Yeah.
You could see it depicted in the artwork.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah. In April 1953, an art gallery owner in Mexico City named Lola Bravo decided it was time that Frida had her very own show in her own country.
Good.
Yes.
Took long enough.
She said that it was time and that Frida probably didn't have much time left to enjoy it, which is true.
Okay.
Hundreds of people attended the big party for the opening of Frida's show, but her doctors said she shouldn't go. She shouldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
And she's like, fuck you. She was asked, she asked her servants to bring her bed to the gallery and place it right in the middle of the room. And then she waited for the gallery to fill with people and was brought over in an ambulance with a police escort and brought into the gallery on a stretcher and placed on her bed.
Talk about making an entrance.
Yeah, she definitely did.
All right, but she attended in a way that wasn't too taxing for her health on her own terms. There you go.
Yeah.
That's Frida.
Now, she sadly, a few months later, in August, her right leg was infected with gangrene and had to be amputated.
Oh.
To which, when the doctor said this, Diego's like, this is going to kill her. She's going to die from this. She didn't speak for months after the operation. Finally, in the spring of 1954, she felt like painting again. She made one final public appearance on July 2nd at a communist demonstration, but came home with pneumonia. She celebrated her 47th birthday by entertaining over 100 friends in the Blue House. On July 12th, Diego said that he sat with her on her bed before heading out for the evening. And she gave him a ring for their anniversary. And he said, "It's not for a few weeks away. Why are you giving it to me so early?" And she said, quote, "Because I feel I'm going to leave you very soon."
No.
She died early the next morning,
Huh?
on July
She
13th.
knew.
She was 47 years old.
So young.
She had asked that since she had spent too much time on her back in life, she wanted to be cremated. Her ashes sit at her home, where she was born and where she died, La Casa Azul, which a year after her death, Diego bequeathed to the Mexican nation as a museum.
Okay.
It is left exactly the way they had it, full of art, personal items, pre-Hispanic artifacts, her dresses, her jewelry. So
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
like my bucket list. I want to
Okay.
see La Casa Azul.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
that is
sad story.
a sad story.
Fabulous woman living life on
Fabulous
hot
woman.
terms.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
is
and her
Frida
work is
Kahlo.
so pretty. Oh,
Beautiful. Yeah, I love.
wow.
I was so. Oh my god, I was so mad that when I was working for the National Park Service, I was stationed up in Seneca Falls, and Buffalo had an art museum with a painting by Frida Kahlo.
Okay.
And I looked up on their website. I'm like, oh, the painting's there. I have to go see it.
Okay.
I've never seen a Frida Kahlo painting up close and personal. So I drove my ass all the way to Buffalo, got to the museum. I'm looking everywhere, I'm like, where the fuck is this painting? Where is it? And I went up to the lady at the desk, "Where's the Frida Kahlo painting?" She's like, "Oh, it's on tour. It's not here." I'm like,
Oh,
are
wow.
you fucking kidding? I'm like, you couldn't put that on your website? I'm one of those people that checks the websites before I go to these places because I
Yeah.
know things
Oh, it
change.
was on tour.
I
Oh.
was like, God damn it.
Oh,
So
we'll go back.
I was so mad.
Is it back there? We'll go
I
back.
don't know where. Well, who knows? Because the website clearly is never updated. Like, you fuckers.
Wow.
I was so mad.
Yeah, no, that's disappointing. That's disappointing.
But anyway, Frida Kahlo. One of these days I'm going to get
Yes.
down and see her house. And
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there you go, Frida Kahlo.
Good story.
Love it.
Good story. Good painter.
On
And
that
there you
note,
go.
Breathers.
Thank you for joining us for a funny, informative, fabulous episode of All My Favorite People Are Dead. See you next time.
Tweeze your caterpillars, folks.